ANC for 312 Energy and Environmental Management. I'm Khairul Anwar. My focus today is to deliver presentation regarding environmental management. So environmental pollution, there's a lot of environmental pollution from nuclear power plant, nuclear bomb, haze, toxic plume, toxic waste, all of it contributing to environmental pollution. Sustainable development. What is sustainable development? The sustainable development is the kind of development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. The two concept of sustainable development are the concept of needs, in particular the essential needs of the poorest people to which they should be given overriding priority, and the idea of limitation which is imposed by the state of technology and social organization on the environment ability to meet both present and future needs. Sustainable development. In the past, various societies have sought to control their population to reduce the environmental damage by enforcing late marriage. Westerners have tended to see themselves as being at war with nature rather than seeking to understand it and trying to exist within its constraint. The popular reference is the environment was to be tamed and unspoiled land were wasteland. Therefore, in 1960, the Gaia viewpoint emerged, which regard the Earth as a complex system, which, if upset by careless development, might adjust in such a way as to make current lifestyle impossible or even eliminate human. Therefore, they introduce limit concept to development. The concern for limit and demand for material growth clearly conflicted, and some began calling for reduced or even zero growth or no growth. In 1970s, a much more palatable alternative was proposed, sustainable development, in which the goal of sustainable development is adequate sustained quality of life for all without exceeding environmental unit. This seems to offer a way for continued growth to avoid conflict with environmental limits. Pero the goals of sustainable development before the 1950s, the prevailing viewpoint in the West was that humans could and should modify nature to their advantage, and that the environment was virtually limitless and resilient. Nature was to be studied, catalogued, and tamed and exploited. The frontier was still open, with land to settle and relatively few signs of environmental stress other than localized pollution and some of loss of biodiversity. In 1965, U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Adlai Stevenson popularized the catchphrase "Spaceship Earth." It represents the world as a fragile, unique, closed environment in which first-class passengers, the developed country, and other rich people were greedy, while the lower-class passengers, the poor, mainly non-Western nations, who each consume far less but en masse altogether, cause growing stress, were multiplying beyond the life support capacity. Neither first nor lower-class passengers were in control, on both were vulnerable to each other and increasingly to natural hazards. Although the concept was first voiced in the early 1970s, serious interest in sustainable development was limited. After that, it seemed to offer a way to hit limit and develop have growth preferable to zero growth. Goal of sustainable development is economic growth, environmental protection, and the health and happiness of people. The supporters of of sustainable development do not pursue environmental quality in isolation from addressing socialism, integration, and poverty. Tough environmental standards are not acceptable if they cause poverty or for rich people a resultant decline in well-being. Sustainable development is a prime objective of environmental management, but it is a challenge to find effective and workable strategy. The definition which has become well known is for sustainable development to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Caution is needed. Sustainability and sustainable development are not the same, but are often used as if they were. The former is the ongoing function. The former refers to sustainability is the ongoing function of an ecosystem or use of a resource. Example, maintenance of environmental quality. So sustainability is the quantification of status and progress, environmental or social, and the goal of the sustainable development process. Sustainable development too many implies increasing demand in order to improve well-being and lifestyle, and probably in the foreseeable future to cope with the growing population. Sustainable development is a prime objective of environmental management, but it is a challenge to find effective and workable strategy. Therefore, environmental management can support sustainable development by identifying key issues, clarifying threats, opportunity, and limits, establishing feasible boundaries and strategies, and monitoring to reduce the chance of surprises. Strategies are needed to ensure the development process results in sustainable development. Key elements are supportive and sustainable institution, use of appropriate ethics and motivation. So institution building and replacement of non-sustainable waste play an important role. Many would argue that this should all be based on careful observation, ongoing learning and management by those in touch with or even working with citizens. The range of tools and approaches for the measurement, management and promotion of sustainable development are growing. Promising approach include strategic sustainable development, integrated appraisal, and industrial ecology. There are two principles, the polluter pays principle and precautionary principle. In the polluter pays principle, the idea is if there is a problem, seek abatement and clean up to avoid problem if possible. There has also been a switch from the burden of problem being borne by those affected to its being handled by the public in general, or better still, to making the polluter pay. For the precautionary principle, the art of precautionary principle of proactive planning has evolved quite recently, and consequently it is easily sidestepped and is applied too late to select the best development option. Is misused or neglected or simply lack the power to identify impact well enough. Some of the tools which support the precautionary principle, for example, environmental impact assessment and social impact assessment. Impact assessment impact assessment effectively force developer to look before the leap, and if problems are anticipated, to delay acting until there can be effective avoidance or mitigation. Therefore, a legislation is important to seek which seek to ensure there are margin of safety for the environment and human well-being. So one aspect of the precautionary principle approach is to ensure margin of safety when designing technology, certifying drug or pesticide, developing areas of risk from natural hazard, setting standard for pollution measurement, and much more. Why? Environmental management. It is to maintain, therefore, why do we need environmental management? So to answer why is to maintain clean and conducive condition for living and to conserve the environment for future generation. What is environmental management? It's the management of human interaction with the environment with consideration for its environmental impact to achieve the above mentioned. In Malaysia, the environmental management focusing on Ministry of Water, Land and Natural Resource, Department of Environment, NREB, Local Authority and Quality Alam. So when should we impose environmental management? Is before, during and after the development. So how to do it is to comply with environmental legislation such as EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment, EMS, and monitoring, taking measure to minimize environmental impact from human activities. This is form of pollution and control. A. Emission, smoke, greenhouse gas, water discharge, wastewater, industry, agriculture. For soil, groundwater is from leachate, landfill, and agriculture. For noise is machine, vehicle, and airport. So to control the pollution, we need environmental legislation and policies. For planning, mm, there are several methods based on precautionary principle, which is environmental impact assessment, environmental management plan, and environmental management system, and pollution control technologies. Thank you.